Hey mate, I want to book your band. I'll give you $30 for 30 songs.
You sit down, Buffett. You sit down.
What do you mean? It's a great opportunity for exposure.
You sit down, Buffett. You sit down.
Oh, come on. You'll need to share your drum kit as well because there's 2 other bands playing.
You sit down, Buffett. You sit down.
It'll be a top night. I'm giving a free beer to every muso.
You sit down, Buffett. You sit down.
Mate, I'm not sure how many will turn up, so can you bring all your mates?
You sit down, Buffett. You sit down.
I got the sound guy coming, $250 flat fee. That's coming out of the door, and your 3 bands can divvy up the rest.
You sit down, Buffett. You sit down.
Mate, I haven't got the budget for promo. Can you do it all for me?
You sit down, Buffett. You sit down.
Mate, you'll be playing to at least 10 people because the other 2 bands are a 5-piece.
You sit down, Buffett. You sit down.
One band is Scabarama, and the other one is called the Wage Theft Big Band.
You sit down, Buffett. You sit down.
Mate, one last thing. I cooked the books to get a couple of venue grants, but they weren't enough to pay the rent. So what I got to do is take 10% of the door. My name's Quinlan. I might as well reintroduce myself. Of Melbourne Musos, Face Chook Live, destined for a beloved Channel 31 soon enough. I've got a couple of shows up my sleeve, and this will be on pronto. Okay. Today is New Orleans. I've done it before, but I'm going to do a different kind of tack. I'm actually going to talk about the parade. I'm going to talk about the rhythms and everything like that. But what I'm also going to talk about is some of the influences, where it comes from, and I'll just read to you. There's plenty of footage on YouTube, but I hope that I can give you a different kind of spin. From a drumming point of view, the harmony. Boy, whoever thought of that? Let's get into it. What we have is, when you're dealing with things like a New Orleans second line, it was told to me, and I took it on thing, but the second line is, the first line is the band, and the second line are the dear people. And a lot of people think second line drumming rhythms, that kind of thing. And it's the drum rhythms that everyone dances to when they're following the band. Now, in New Orleans, Louisiana, in America, so often their marching bands are joyous and fun, even with a funeral march. You would do it as a half-time, very slow, then someone does the bugle call and bang. It's a little bit, think of it like an Irish wake, that kind of thing, where there's the solemn part and then you do nothing but joyous, going, the soul goes up to heaven and all that. And so what I'd like to talk about is the history of the parades. Doesn't get talked about quite as much as just the rhythms. Of course I'm going to do that. But here we go. Second line, parades. The second line is a tradition in parades organised by social aid and pleasure clubs, with brass band parades in New Orleans, Louisiana, United States. The main line, or first line, is the main section of the parade, or the members of the SAPC, with the parading permit as well as the brass band. I'll go back. That means social aid and pleasure clubs. It's a little bit like our Australian Brass Band League that my dear old City of Essendon Brass Band, of course, had to be a part of. That's how you got into Anzac Days and did the national championships and everything like that. There you go. The second line consists of people who follow the band to enjoy the music, dance, and engage in community. The second line style of traditional dance, in which participants dance and walk along in free-form style with parasols and handkerchiefs, is called second lining. It is one of the most foundationally black American retentive cultures in the United States, being retentive meaning just revered and loved. It has been called the quintessential New Orleans art form, a jazz funeral without a body. Another significant difference from jazz funerals is that the second line parades lack the slow hymns and dirges played at funerals, although some organisations may have the band play a solemn selection towards the start of the parade in memory of members who have passed away since their last parade. There you go. Lots of pictures to be had. And there you have it. Now, what happens? I might as well do one more paragraph while I'm at it. Origins. The second line has its origins in traditional West African circle or ring dances. The second line tradition was brought to New Orleans by enslaved Africans, where it became a ritual for African Americans, especially in various processions, including funerals. Some scholars believe that the West African ring featured children drumming with adults dancing that in turn forced the ring to straighten into a line. Others note the similarity of the steps, exaggerated stylistic strutting to dances performed in Congo Square by the enslaved, given the day off on Sundays. These dances were officially banned for a time because they were deemed threatening to the white inhabitants of the city. And their resurgence in the second line culture suggests a similar celebration of individual freedom. Okay, I'll stop at that point. Now, what starts to happen is that one of the most important things you can do, one of the most important rhythms, is the 3-2 clave. I can see a few of you face palming already, but I'm going to do it from a different point of view. When you're dealing with a 3-2 clave, that's exactly what it is. You've got 3 beats in the first bar and 2 in the second. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. There you go, you see. Boom, 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 chicka, boom, boom. I Want Candy. It's one of those things. It's one of the most common hit songs, okay? It seems like every 15 years, whatever record company owns the song, this is just me gesticulating, seems to, okay, we've got this young bloke coming up. Let's give him I Want Candy. We'll make that a hit, and then he can move on. You know, that was that Aaron Carter with Hop, the kids' film Hop, when the rabbit got up on stage and started doing I Want Candy. Before then it was, I keep getting them mixed up. Was it the Tom Tom Club or Bow Wow Wow? The clip that's on the beach. I think that's Bow Wow Wow. Well, there you go. And then you had the Strange Loves way back when. And everyone was going... And there you go, one of the most pervasive rhythms. Now, what goes on is that when you're dealing with the New Orleans style, it starts to get very syncopated, and you start to bring in over the top of the basic 3-2 clave. What you start to do is bring in your rolls and all sorts of business. It is a march with a band. So you might start off with I'll do it up on the hi-hat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Roll. And what starts to happen, I'll take the triggers off for a second, the old dub horns, I'll take them out. And what you have there, not that I've got them on the snare drum tonight, I don't. There's the lead there, I took it out. But I've got them on. Oh, I took them out, didn't I? You know what I mean. Now, roll. Ring shot. Press. Double, single, double. Now with a hi-hat, I once got called last year. I ran with it. Oh, that's that hi-hat guy. I'm the hi-hat guy. And what goes on with the hi-hat is that way back when, all the way back to the 19th century, you would have small cymbals of hi-hat size, 12, 14 inches. Instead of the stand, which was not invented, You just had two small cymbals. You put leather straps through them, you'd hold them, and you go. Beautiful stuff, and that's what would go on. What happened then, you'd have the sock cymbal down with your socks, hello down there, sock cymbal. And what happens is that you would have the other hi-hat on a little contraption. You've got to remember this was in the same time as the first automobiles and things like this. So, you know, you had all these groovy little contraptions like pedals and stuff, and you would press it down and go like that. And then essentially the hi-hat pedal as we know it now came to be. You can splash it, you can do... There it is, you can get all these different things. Now, you got the 3-2 clave now. One of the things historically now, I'll get a little wriggle on now, is that you've got your 3-2. And then put your rolls in. You're rolling around, you see. You've got a, so when you're dealing with your rudimental stuff, you've got a rough, which is any number of strokes with single taps. You've got a roll, any number of notes with double taps, and then you have the presses like that. And one of the things that you want to try and do when you're doing this wonderful style of music is use your whole snare drum head. Rim shots. Always remember that when you're dealing with rim shots, what happens is that you're often also in this style of music playing rim shots right on the edge. You get different kinds of timbres. When you're playing a rim shot, big, full-blooded, full-throated thing. But then when you're actually, you can, you know, play on the edge. Dun, 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 there you go, you see. So that's what happens there. Now, one Bo Diddley decided, I can use that. And we know it as the Bo Diddley beat. Buy my girl a diamond ring. Hey, Bo Diddley, boom, boom, boom. Oh, a bit messy there, but anyway, there you go. That's Bo Diddley. And there you have it. See, you just whack it on the tom-tom. And what I was doing there was the good old two feel. About 8 years ago, I was teaching that. I said, Mr. Quinlan, are you teaching us the McDonald's ad? And I said, I am. It's the cheeseburger for $2 for a limited time only. There it is there. Hey! So with the hi-hat, to get it a bit funky, you put it on the offbeats. Now, depending on how you're playing it, it could be on all the ends, but you could also just put on 2 and 4, which is the usual. So, and there you have it. Now, one of the other things that you can do is if you're going to do the 3-2 clave, just do, instead of the 3-2, just do the 3. So you might have bum, 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 bang, bum. Translates a bit to the Sukos rhythm in Africa. Most people know it as a calypso. You did it on the hi-hat. there you go. And, everything leads back to that. It's wonderful. And one of the great songs that I often love teaching and demonstrating to students is a track by the Meters with dear drummer Zigaboo Modelist, which I put on the show a little while ago, a couple of months ago, I think, and a track called Hey Pocky Away. And that is a dead set 3 calypso, if you will, and very much New Orleans. And that's pretty much where Mr. Modelist, comes from, where he got brought up, all that sort of stuff. I did a whole show on that. This is more to do with the parades and how you work it in, and there you have that. Now, I'm also doing the technical business. Dun, 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 bum, bum. There you go. And now, here's a simple switch. Okay, so this is what we've got. I'm being fairly fiddly with the New Orleans style. There's also that little last beat there. Look at Desire by U2, if you want to. There you go. Got to have faith, the faith, the faith, George Michael, all of these things. It's wonderful stuff. But what happens is that, of course, we go to Bo Diddley, who essentially introduced it to rock and roll. He calls him Earl Otha Bates is his original name, and Bo Diddley is his stage name. And a lot of people call him the originator of rock and roll. And as soon as he was onto this... Wow, when you're on a good thing, stick to it. Many hits with that. Keeps on going to this day, and there you have it. But when you want to make it funky, here's a little technique. So you've got your 3-2 clave. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 4 and 1 and 4 and 1. Put the right hand on the hi-hat, and what will start to happen is that you can get a little bit of a funky beat. So you get that kind of... Now, this will sound a little bit off-putting if I just do it with the hands alone. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 then... Oh, why not? I put the triggers back in. Hey, yeah. And I don't know. Let's do that one.
Sorry, mate. Car's closed. We've got half an hour to get the key out of the pub. Sorry, mate. Car's closed. We've got half an hour to get the key out of the pub. Sorry, mate. Car's closed. We've got half an hour to get the key out of the pub.
Oh!
Sorry, mate. Car's closed. We've got half an hour to get the key out of the pub.
Got half an hour, mate, to get your gear out of the pub, mate. Oh! Pointer, you sit down, buffhead. Oh! There you go. So that's what happens there. Okay, did you get that, Porter? Maniga boy! Doink. There you go, there you go. The harmonic side of things, it's a B flat pentatonic. There's a blue note in there too, and that's what you've got. And B-flat instruments when you're dealing with brass bands, predominantly the instrument... Oh, by the way, this is the harmonic part of the evening here. Predominantly, you have transposing instruments in B-flat or E-flat. And instead of a trumpet... Don't call it a trumpet in a brass band, mate. Porter!
You sit down,
Buffet.
You sit down.
It's not a trumpet, it's a cornet, mate, a cornet. Don't you know anything? Oh!
You're going to have to pay for that beer, mate.
If you don't know what the difference between a trumpet and a cornet is, you're going to have to pay for the beer.
You sit down, Griffin. You sit down.
They come to take me away, haha. Hello. Oh, fairies. Oh, the munchkins are out. Anyway, that was you'll see it later. Okay. And what happens is, what you've got then is you have transposing instruments. So you would have a cornet, you would have a euphonium, a little bit like a squashed, smaller tuba, if you will, if you want to think of it like that. And you've got all the horns when you're marching. So there's that. And predominantly when you're doing things like this, you're talking about the good old pentatonic. You're dealing with things like that. If I'm going to use the minor pentatonic, it will be the first, the flat third, the fourth, the fifth, the flat seventh octave. And if you're going to do the blues scale, put in a flat five, the diabolus in musica, the devil in music. But that's what gives it its... Oh! Bum-ba-da-dum-dum. You've got a bit of a start on the old second line rhythms and all that. Now I want to thoroughly recommend this book, and it is not payola. I do not get a cent for doing this, but this is New Orleans Jazz and Second Line Drumming by Herlin Riley and Johnny Vidakovich. Interviews by Dan Thress. This is a wonderful resource, so wonderful the thing's falling apart. Oh God help me. And there it is there. But it comes with a CD, it comes with charts, it comes with interviews. There's pictures of baby Dodds back in the time. It talks about ragtime. There's Paul Barberin's picture there. And all sorts of people there. So there it is there. Okay. And there's baby Dodds' set up right there. Hang on one sec. He was the master of the press roll. There it is there. There's the photo of dear baby Dodds. His main claim to fame was this, and being Louis Armstrong's drummer. And the only known film footage of him was in the 40s when he was getting on a little bit, and he did the most perfect press roll. It was just zzz, like that. Now, I might talk about that because I've often found... Look at all this stuff as I'm going through. It's a wonderful book. Just buy it. Just buy it. Okay, there it is there. A loving plug for a wonderful resource, a resourceful book, and everything's there for you. So that's, if you want to really get into stuff, just go there, start playing the charts. And what starts to happen is with the secret weapon is the press roll. You want to, now when we're talking about marches, of course, when you're dealing with Anzac Day, that's one thing. I do this every Anzac Day, but when you're dealing with Remembrance Day, oh boy, lots of hymns, and it's a much more somber day, and the press rolls, and I've often said, I feel like my wrists are falling off when I'm doing it. But when you're doing... There it is, you see, you get three main shades. You've got the press, the double stroke roll, the single stroke roll, double press, double... that's a well-known exercise called cod liver oil, attributed to Ed Shaughnessy. I don't know why he called it cod liver oil. The standard joke is maybe to try and do it. It just gives you the shits, mate, because it's bloody hard to do. I'm going off the rails now. What a tradition of 3-2 Clover. Let me look at my notes. I've done it all. There it all is there. 3-2 Clave. It starts getting quite syncopated. Don't know if they're double kicking on those. Have to pay every band. Oh!
Hey, Porter! You sit down, Buffett. You sit down. Hey, Porter! You sit down, Buffett. You sit down. Hey, Porter! You sit down, Buffett. You sit down. Hey, Porter!
Hi, Porter!
You sit down, Buffett. You sit down. Hey, Porter! You sit down, Buffett. You sit down. Buffett, you sit down.
Oh boy, what a show. My name, I'll wrap it up now. My name is Chris Quinlan. My voice is breaking. I'm going through puberty again. And what's going Hey, Porter. Who remembers Porter? Hey, Porter. Oh, a young Eric Banner. Oh, my! With his stretched jeans. Hey, Porter, my! I can think about mine! Porter, you sit down, Buffett, you sit down. And what goes on with this is that I'm hoping you pick my comedic references to something very serious and something very beautiful that's going on. And one of the things is these kinds of styles of music, and it's a living, breathing culture that I adore it. I hope you can see that I'm doing my best to pass on the love. And really, it's wonderful, wonderful business. You listen to it and you're just in awe of it, really, with the freedom, the vitality, the wondrousness, and the community of it is probably what I'm trying to get at there. So I'm going to love and leave you now. This is all about New Orleans and all sorts of business there. This is the rhythm. Hey! Top night. I'm doing a free beer to every Musos. Mate, I'm not sure how many will turn up, so can you bring all your mates?
You sit down, Buffett. You sit down.
I got the sound guy coming, $250 flat fee. That's coming out of the door, and your three bands can divvy up the rest.
You sit down, Buffett. You sit down.
Mate, I haven't got the budget for promo. Can you do it all for me?
You sit down, Buffett. You sit down.
Mate, you'll be playing to at least 10 people because the other two bands are a 5-piece.
You sit down, Buffett. You sit down.
One band is Scabarama and the other one is called the Wage Theft Big Band.
You sit down, Buffett. You sit down.
Mate, one last thing. I cooked the books to get a couple of venue grants, but they weren't enough to pay the rent. So what I got to do is take 10% of the door.